What's going on? Today, we're going to be talking about how to get out of neo serfdom. Okay. In case you didn't know, neo serfdom would be basically modern day slavery. Okay. Modern day, a modern day capitalist slave. Okay. So that is the definition of a neo serf. Okay. Someone that is basically burdened by debt primarily. Okay. It's also psychological as well. A lot of people are not aware of the psychology of money. They don't understand that people are disillusioned by generational poverty, generational financial distress. A lot of people are suffer from financial issues, and also mental issues as far as their stress that they had to overcome, and it's still in many cases continuous, that they continue to deal with as far as overcoming financial constraints, financial problems, and burdens. So we're gonna go over this topic, and I just have to say also, the reason why I just continue hammering this home is because I don't see, over the years, I just don't see any better topic than financial issues. Okay. Just to put things into a nutshell, I'm gonna show you the chart of the wealth distribution in the United States. This is why I continue to talk about this. This is why Yep. So that was my first blooper of the day. So I was gone for about probably 2 minutes. But I lost my connection. But I promised that I would share this video So let me do that. I mean, actually, not. It's not a video, just a chart. Okay, just to kind of show you what's going on. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, so this is a distribution of wealth from 1990 to 2003. So let me take a look at this here. So actually open this up, just this picture. See if we can open this picture alone up. It kind of analyze this picture. Okay, so this is the top. Let's see, hold on. Let's go right here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Share, screen share. Right there. Okay. All right. So this is the top 10% richest own 2/3 of all household wealth in the US. So the top, they're alone right there. The top 10% wealthiest in America own 2/3 of all of the household wealth. Okay, so that's just the 10%. Now, when you talk about the 20%, they own almost all. They own the other third. So it's 2/3. They own most of it. It's just a fraction that is left after you even just talk about the top 20%. Don't talk about top 40, top 50. It's just gonna start getting more sci-fi, more dystopian the further you drill down. Okay. But this chart here talks about the top 10%. It's so big, it's off the charts. Okay. It's hard for me to even, I'd have to shrink my screen to actually look at this actual picture. Okay. And actually, I'll have to just basically go slow so you can actually see it. So this is 1990. It has this here. It says the share of wealth owned by the bottom 50% hits its lowest point of 0.4% in 2011. That's roughly around the market crash of the home mortgage crash, the mortgage collapse 2008. This is after that. People just got flat broke, right? Companies closed up, all kinds of stuff. Companies got bought out. People crazy about like Dodge Chargers, right? And all Chrysler and all of that, right? Well, a lot of people, a lot of young people, a lot of Z's that are enjoying their Hellcats and their Chargers, younger millennials, a lot of them probably know, but they probably forget that Dodge and Chrysler are not an American-owned company. Okay, Stellantis is a European-owned. I think the Italians, they own Dodge because Dodge was up for sale during Obama's first administration, when they had to bail out the auto manufacturers. They literally, this country, people talk about socialism and Marxism and all of that. Well, a lot of people, they either were too young or just not tuned in. Basically, I wanted, the words was dumb, just basically not tuned in, just deaf, dumb, and blind. That what happened in the 2008 collapse, the country became more socialist. Basically, the government bailed out the free markets, the quote unquote free markets, right? The government bailed out AIG, They bailed out Chevrolet. Basically, it wasn't even a bailout. See, I was in my 30s then, so I was aware of what went on. I wasn't young. I was young in a sense, but I remember everything that happened. That's one of the reasons why I started this channel, and also why I am the man I am today, because of that. After that 2008 collapse, I started to learn everything I could about finances that I possibly can. And what happened was, the United States, actually very similar to China, they bought part ownership of Chevrolet. The Chevrolet that you enjoy today, where you enjoying your whatever car you drive in, whether it be a Blazer, whether it be a Tahoe or Impala, that company was socialized by the United States taxpayers. The United States government actually took part ownership of Chevrolet, GMC, and basically bailed out this corporation. Because, to be honest, had the government not done that, basically Chevrolet would have been up on the chopping block. The Chinese could have bought them. The Japanese could have bought them. The Europeans obviously bought Chevrolet. I mean, basically Chrysler and Dodge. They could have just bought another, like that. Those are, Chrysler and Dodge is an American brand. Chevrolet is, basically, I think Chevy was number two after Ford. Ford was the first auto manufacturer ever, right? And then after that, you had Chevrolet. Then you had Dodge. I believe Chevy was before Dodge. But you got to understand, Ford didn't take any bailouts. They were like, we're good. We can, we can deal with this. They didn't take any bailouts. Chevy was in absolute trouble. It was absolute madness. Okay. They lost everything. Stock started to plummet. They actually filed bankruptcy. A lot of people forget this. They forget this because they either didn't know or they forgot about it. Because people, that's what people do. They forget, and they hope that you forget so they can run the same play on you again. But I'll never forget this. I'll never forget when the United States turned into communist China, and they bought Chevy. They owned a piece of Chevy for a period of time. I think they own like almost 30% or something like that. Once Chevy got out of their bankruptcy and they start to make more money, they start building, some cars, that people wanted to actually buy and drive. They gave out cash for clunkers, which is also, like welfare for a citizen to be able to buy a car. Okay, they gave, I think, like some type of incentive. I don't remember exactly what, but they literally gave you a rebate off of buying a car. If you had a car, any car, you could go take it and get another car. So it's almost like a government gun buyback, right? I was watching something in Canada. The Canadian government is offering gun gun buybacks. They'll give you cash for turning in a gun. Okay, you take that for whatever it is. I'm not making this up, right? This was like last week I saw this. But the government at that time, the United States government, after 2008, they gave basically welfare, a government subsidy, which was called cash for clunkers, for people to buy cars. And a lot of people don't give. Obviously, it's one of the things about Obama that they say it was actually absolute genius. Now, Obama, I'm sure, did not come up with that all by himself. He had people in his cabinet and other people that were his advisors. But that actually happened, and it worked extremely well, because one of the things it did do was it gave people an incentive to go out and buy cars to save these auto manufacturers. Now it was a situation where now these Americans with these Clash for Clunkers rebates wanted to buy these cars. The government gave them money and incentive to buy these cars. What did they do? They went out and bought all kinds of cars, right? The Chevy Cobalts and all kinds of cars, right? People probably laughing now because that was what they actually did. People did go out and buy cars during that Cash for Clunkers situation, right? Under the Obama's first term, they actually did that. And what that did was save these car companies, like GM, from actually so they can recover and ultimately pay back the U.S. government and be unsocialized by the U.S. government, right? Buying back ownership, right? Getting out of bankruptcy. All these things happen. AIG got billions of dollars. Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase. A lot of banks went under. Washington Mutual, Wachovia, they got bought out. Even a mortgage company got bought out. Basically, what was that mortgage company called? It was called I forgot the name of that mortgage company. I think it was called, it's on the tip. It was a major mortgage company that got bought out after the 2008 mortgage collapse. So I think it was like Nationwide or something. It was like basically it was a major mortgage company that was bought out. I'm trying to figure out which one it was. Let's see here. Try to figure this out here. Okay. So let's see here. Countrywide. I was close. I was like Nationwide. Yeah, it was Countrywide. Countrywide was a major mortgage loan originator, national home originator. They collapsed. They got bought out, I think, by Bank of America. Okay. Well, Bank of America got bailed out by the government. Okay. Billions and billions of dollars. Government, corporate welfare. The Americans, taxpayers, paid the corporations corporate welfare. That's why you don't really, I have never been on here and criticize personal, like, people that get welfare. I might crack jokes or a little bit or whatever, but I don't criticize Americans for getting welfare because I know this shit happened. And it happened before it happened, when I was a little kid. It happened before I was born. The government bailed out corporations, bailed out banks, right? So the thing is that these things happen, right? And I say all of this to say, basically, this is why, that period of time where 50%, the bottom 50% only had 0.4% of the wealth in 2011. I mean, basically after 2008, a lot of people lost their shirt. A lot of people lost their shirt. Okay. And notice this chart here, right? It's off the charts, right? So this is the top 1%, and the like tan color here is the 10 percentile, 10 percentiles. So look at this chart, right? After 2008, that's why I say during market collapses is an opportunity for you to actually get wealthier. It seems crazy, but you got to think of it like the Hunger Games, and you just found a way to win. You found a way to actually win during the Hunger Games and come out on top. And people have done that. Okay. Famous family that's done that was the Kennedys. Prohibition, right after the Great Depression, and liquor was abolished. It was outlawed. The Kennedy patriarch, basically grandfather Kennedy, he started. He had to feed his family. He had to, basically sell booze to the mob. He sold booze to the mob, made money, legitimized it, and became extremely, extremely rich and wealthy. His family is still wealthy to this day, multi-generationally wealthy, right? The Kennedys, right? So if you look them up, you can find out where their wealth was resided. I'll tell you, one of the things is commercial real estate. I do know they do have commercial real estate, probably a lot of it. But as you can see here, they just started making more money after the 2008, or even after 1990, they were just going up. But if you notice, right after 2010, they started to go up. It started to go peak. It's off the charts now. So what's going on now is, in my opinion, some of this has to go down. Okay, and the wealthy don't want it to go down. They want it to continue to go up. But in my opinion, just looking at this, it's not going to continuously go up anymore. People are on to what's going on. Things are just, it's just not sustainable, right? Okay, so I'll read this. What we're showing is how household wealth is distributed between different income groups in the U.S. from 1989 to today. The amount of household wealth owned by the bottom 50% was at its high point, 3.8% in 1993, and reached the lowest point, 0.4, in 2011, right after the mortgage collapse. And another thing also I have to point out, it just a flash came onto my big old brain here, is this also is the reason why people are afraid to have children, why there's a birth crisis, quote unquote. I don't believe it's really a birth crisis. Like, maybe I'll say a birth correction, but I don't believe it's a birth crisis. But here's the thing. Whenever there is a financial, let's just call it a financial calamity. So 2008 was a financial calamity. It was actually a financial collapse. It was a global financial collapse. That's what happened in 2008. Also, it was another financial collapse, 2020. Okay. You could even say now, 2025, there's still some type of financial burden. There's a financial, the country is not financially where it needs to be, right? It's not doing well. The economy, the US economy is not doing well, right? So all that being said, all of those put into multi-generationally, women do not feel comfortable couples do not feel comfortable having children in these hard economic times. Okay. So you got to understand, after all of these financial events, people are afraid. They become scarred. They become scared. Hell, me personally, I remember 2008. I'm still just like, I'm still in recovery from it. I remember people were losing their lives, people were losing their houses, people were becoming homeless, people were doing things to survive that they never done. Like some women, they went to Las Vegas to become prostitutes. It was really it was really crazy during that time. A lot of people were unemployed. It was like a dark time in history. And yeah, people remember that, and they just, thinking about the idea of having children does not comfort them. They're not confident to do so. And rightfully so. Okay. So the share of the wealth held by the richest 0.1% is currently at its peak. Okay. The top asset category for the richest 0.1% is corporate equities and mutual funds, which make up over 1/3 of their wealth. Okay, so basically they own businesses. They own Fortune 500 businesses. Okay. The top asset category for the bottom 50% is real estate, which makes up half of their household wealth. So that's the thing. Like, with most people, the reason why they're, quote unquote, you know, they have anything for themselves is they hold real estate. Okay. They have real estate. Okay. So this is the chart distribution right here. This shows basically the U.S. households over that period of time. Basically the top 1% became a more higher percentage wise. Okay, so it just, people got poorer and poorer, and the wealthier got more wealthy. Because see, here's the thing: a lot of people don't understand how this works, right? Let me just break it down to you real simple so you can understand how this works, how they got wealthy. Very simple. Like, take, for example, you have a car. Let's say you got a Dodge Hellcat and you can't pay the car payment. Okay, so you lose the car gets repossessed. You come out in the morning, you about to go to work about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, and you notice your car is not there. But you notice also that you haven't been paying your car payment because you got other bills that you got to pay, and you don't have a lot of money. You don't have a really, you're financially struggling. So what happens is that car, it goes to repo. It goes to be up for auction for car dealers. So those car dealers, they bid on that car. Okay, let's say a car is worth, let's say, about 20 grand. Well, the auctioneers are going to try to bid, lower than that as much as they possibly can to get that car. They're going to get that car. Let's say they get that car for about 12 grand. They're going to sell that car at their dealership, right, for 30 grand. Okay, so they made future wealth by buying this depreciating asset that you couldn't afford. Same thing goes with houses. You lose your house through a foreclosure, someone else buys it, and then they rent it out to people that have Section 8. They turn your asset that you couldn't afford, it goes into their portfolio, and they have more money than you, so they make more off of this house. They make something from this house. This house becomes an asset for them if they have it structured as such as if they flip the house, they might have fixed it up and put it on the market and sold it, or they rented it out in perpetuity to someone that has Section 8. Okay. I got a family member that they did that. They've had their house rented for like 10 years. And they made way more than they made all of their money back that they bought it for their house. I know who actually lost that house. It was a friend of mine that I grew up with. And it was their grandfather's house or grandparents' house. They lost that house, right? But it became an asset to my family member that had the money to buy the house cash, okay, and fix it up and rent it out to someone that needs housing, right? So this is what happens, and it happens in a bigger form. Okay, I'm not saying my family member is rich or anything like that. Like he's not. It's not like 1%. But just look at it like, okay, instead of buying one house and adding it to your portfolio, you're buying a portfolio of houses. So you buy and I've been in real estate, and I've seen listings like this where they're not trying to just sell one house. Okay, they're trying to sell 30 properties. Some of them like have it's just land, it has no property on it. Some have property, but the property is in bad shape. I saw a lot of this. I saw this in Gary, where someone sent me a portfolio of houses. It was like over 30 parcels of real estate, and it was on an Excel spreadsheet. And because they have the money to actually buy this real estate, right? That real estate, they wanted 300 grand to buy all of these properties at once. They didn't just want to sell just one or two. They wanted someone to buy the entire portfolio. Well, that's how the 1% gets rich. They'll buy the entire portfolio of properties. There could be 50 properties on one portfolio for 1.9 million. They'll buy all of them. Okay. And they'll do whatever, they'll parcel these real estate parcels out according to, if they could be fixed or if they could be rehabilitated, or if they're just pieces of land. Okay, we could possibly build on it or not, or they'll just hold the land or let it go or sell the land. Okay, but needs to say, they have enough wealth and power, financial power, that they can buy these assets that people lose because they don't have enough money to pay for them, right? And they have the money to wait for better times to sell these properties or rent them out later, right? In better financial and better economic economic markets or times. Let's just say they have the ability to wait that out, right, and make that payday once they put the properties on the market or rent them out. That's how the rich and wealthy get more wealthy. Also, they have companies that they make money off of. They make money off of the business success off of companies like Nvidia, Tesla, Planeteer, Even Robin Hood is on fire. They got the money to put to invest, and they actually invest, right? Poor people, they don't really have the bottom 50%. They barely have enough money to pay their mortgage, and they're proud of themselves as they should be that they are barely able to pay their mortgage. That's just kind of how that works. Okay, so we're talking about how do you basically um, get out of serfdom, right? Neo serfdom, new age financial serfdom. Okay, instead of you having a lord that you owe money to for the land in your little cottage in Europe, you owe student loans, car payments, credit card debt, and mortgages to your lord, right? Your lord is student loan bureau, car payments, which car payments could be totally avoided. Car payments are avoidable. If you don't believe car payments are unavoidable, I would love for you to comment on this video at any time and let me know your mindset of why you think car payments are unavoidable. Because in my understanding and my knowledge, and even financial experts before me, they always said car payments were avoidable. And even to this day, 2025, car payments are pretty much avoidable, right? I got two cars, they both paid for. I had a classic car that I sold because I had to move, and I just didn't want all these cars junking, just hunking around, all these vehicles. But the thing is that I paid that car off, and I really regretted that I ever did have any car payments. But car payments are pretty much avoidable if you have savings. If you have $5,000 to $10,000 in savings, you can just go buy a car, go buy it on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or a local car dealer, and you just get a warranty for peace of mind. It's like $100 a month or something like that, in case something happens to your transmission, the engine, the timing chain goes out, stuff like that. But again, these are the new feudal lords, the car payment companies, okay, car finance companies, student loans, the credit card companies, and the mortgage companies, or the banks, mortgage banks, or mortgage guarantors, or whatever. Okay, those are the new feudal lords, right? The new lords of modern day feudalism, right? So the burden by these systemic costs are the feudal dues. Okay, the feudal dues are whatever you got to pay, such as rent, inflation. Um, let's see here. Let's put some banners up here so you can kind of guide along what I'm talking about. This is gonna be a little time. It's a lot to talk about. So feudal dues are, basically, whatever you got to pay: healthcare costs, insurance, car payments, student loan payments, credit card payments, mortgage payments. These are the feudal dues. Okay, you trapped in a cycle. Okay, living paycheck to paycheck. How many people live paycheck to paycheck? Here's the thing, right? My channel has been transparent for the most part since I started my channel probably 10 years ago. I've been pretty transparent. I literally called myself the broke genius. I call myself broke. Okay, even though I'm not broke now, I can show you proof I ain't broke. But I'm not broke now. I actually achieved a level of success to where I wanted to actually achieve before I started my channel. Okay, I actually overcame the brokenness in real time while I had this channel, probably about 2 years ago, roughly speaking. But that being said, one of the things that I noticed is people are not confident about talking about their financial issues. My channel, I chose to be honest and realistic and talk about my financial problems. Most people do not talk about their financial problems. Thus, there is the first problem, in my opinion. Because if you pretend, which most people do, like everything is okay, then you're going to continuously struggle because you're not okay. It's like if you're trying to overcome a problem and you don't talk about it, most likely you're not going to overcome that problem. That's just not how that works. Problems tend to be overcome by reaching out to others and conversing those problems, coming up with solutions. But if you don't talk about them, if you're not confident enough to talk about them, then it just leaves people to speculation. That's where the keeping up with appearances and the Joneses, that's why people getting car payments, and where, the luxury lifestyle goods like Gucci, Prada, Louis, all of these different brands, in order to look up the appearance, that they don't leave things to speculation. But people already know now, most of the rich and wealthy, they don't wear all of this fancy stuff. They don't even have a lot of the fancy stuff that people think that they have. A lot of what people found out was those are broke people trying to look like they're rich. That's what people know now, for the most part. But people still pretend as if that's not the case. Like people don't have the new firmware update and they don't understand that they don't get the gimmick. They don't get what's going on. But people know the game. All of the fashion branding and the clothes is for people to keep up with appearances, so they don't look like they're financially struggling. Okay, that's what people do. So I'm gonna play this video here, and it kind of shows what I'm talking about. And this is in the book, The Millionaire Next Door. This is in that book, The Millionaire Next Door. Talks about this.
One of the richest streets on.
Let me make sure this is actually playing. Let's see here.
in Toronto, and I'm going to show you what cars
Hold on.
these people drive because it's going to shock you. This is one of the richest streets in Toronto, and I'm going to show you what cars these people drive because it's going to shock you. These houses are always upwards of $2 million, but the cars they drive are pretty normal. There's a reason for that. This guy, look at the house, look at the cars. Look at the house, look at the Venza. Look at the house, look at the cars. Simple. Look at the cars. 2006 Accord and 2020 house, look at the car.
So as you can see, and this is my theory as well, I don't worry about cars. I don't even, I think about houses. I don't even really think about cars. I used to, when I was younger, I probably used to dream or think about cars. But I don't even think about cars because I know houses is, exponentially more valuable than cars. Okay, more important than cars. Houses is way more important than cars. I would even say, yo, even if you like, let's just say you didn't have a car. I mean, who cares? If as long as you have a nice house, okay, you could, go out and get a beater, park it in front of your house, and then, that's your A and B car. But you got a nice house. That's all that matters. And it's like, this is how normal this is. This is normal. But a lot of people don't, in their mind, psychologically, they don't believe this is normal. They don't think this is normal.
The reason is truly wealthy, rich people, they don't need to show off what they have. They really don't. They put their money into whatever they actually need rather than creating this fake image of who they are.
Exactly. Fake image. I don't really get along with a lot of fake people. Even if it goes okay at first, after a while, when I notice fake shit, like pretentious fake stuff, people just kind of depart themselves from me, like naturally, because I just don't do the whole fake stuff. One, here's the thing: most people that I notice that are fake, like YouTube, just internet people, right? Just people that I meet online. Because in real life, I mean, most of the time, it's interactions is like, pretty much people online, right? Because in real life, it gets real goofy when you try to do that, because like literally, I can literally see you. I mean, I can see how much of an ashy bloke you are in real time. So you really can't fake it. But what people do online is, and most people that do this are actually financially, people that financially struggle and are broke, financially broke. They appear as if everything is okay. That's rule number one, mistake number one. Number two is they try to pretend or propagate that they're okay by their daily actions in life. And when it comes to me, I can see where everything cracks. I can see the conversation where it's cracking. I can see the financial foundation just being ripped from the core. And I can tell this person is fronting. And in the words of MC Breed, it ain't no future in your front. It never was, cuz. I mean, that literally is it. And the thing is that um this is based off of just behavior, social behavior. People believe this is what you need to do. Put on a front. But what actually happens is totally different. The wealthy, what the wealthy do and what the poor do is totally different things that they do. You'll be surprised. Like wealthy people, Like, for example, I don't know if this is where you live, but if this is just, because, like, for example, there's thrift stores in upper class communities. You ask yourself, why is there thrift stores in upper class communities? Because the upper class, why you think they say they love saving money? How they got to where they are is by saving money, by being financially, making good financial decisions. And yes, buying that, um denim jacket, Levi jacket for $5 when they're normally like $100 is a good financial decision. And nobody else would even know. I mean, like, and it's like, who cares if they know? Because most likely, I mean, who cares?
If you want to be truly wealthy and you're not really crazy about cars, don't waste your money on super luxury cars because you're not going to really use them. You're just going to, block your money into something that you don't truly appreciate.
Exactly. Like right now, I ain't gonna lie. The temptation to buy a car, after you get some money or whatever, after you sell something or make some money, it's tempting. But I mean, I already got cars. I already got two cars. Okay, both of my cars have mechanical issues. I'll admit that. But I'm not at this moment going anywhere right now. Why do I need a car purchase? Okay, for one, I'm not even, to be honest, where I'm not even really, I'm in the process of finding, another place to live. The hell am I gonna buy a car for? What am I gonna go buy some Gucci or some you know fancy luxury clothes for? I mean, it makes no sense. Matter of fact, if I've been trying to sell a lot of the excess that I have. Not a lot, but I have been trying to sell some of the excess that I have. I have a lot of excess, a lot of stuff, you know, and I've been trying to sell this stuff because I don't need all of this stuff. And a car, like my car, it's got issues, something going on with the charging system. I just use it for a golf cart. I go to the store, go back, go to the gas station, go back, go, down the street, back, go back and forth. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it fortunately it hasn't shut down on me yet. It's been a couple weeks. If I need to go long distances, I take my other vehicle. And I'm fine with that. Like, I don't need to go buy no Mercedes Benz truck yet, like, or any other car or whatever. I don't need that because it ain't the time and the place for it. Cars is like, nah, it's no big deal. I'm looking for my next real estate deal. That's what I'm looking for. I ain't worried about no damn car.
Spend your money on things that you do appreciate. If you like clothing, spend your money there, no problem. But don't do it to impress anybody. The only person that you have to impress at the end of the day, when you're like 90, is yourself.
There you go. And that's a big thing. Like, a lot of people they go crazy trying to impress other people. It just, that's a big no-no. It's a big no-no. Like, you do not want to impress other people, by basically, you know, going into debt. It's not something you want to do. So, paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, living living a paycheck to paycheck lifestyle with constant fear of financial ruin despite working hard. Okay. That's one of the reasons why basically my book, The Millionaire Savings Plan, why I love it so much. And you should too, because it'll get you, if nothing else, the Millionaire Savings Plan for sure will get you out of living check to check. Literally, the first goal on the Millionaire Savings Plan, the first leg or first level, saving $1,000, getting yourself a reward, will get you out of check to check. Okay, 2,000 if you need 2,000. Okay, 4, 8, 16. That'll get you out of that check to check lifestyle. Okay, that'll get it. Definitely will deal with that. Okay, I am not check to check. I'm not check. I mean, I ain't check to check, brother. No, we not check to check over here, bro. You know what I'm saying? We don't move like that. You know. Now, have I been check to check before? Yeah, I've been check to check. I've been in like almost a rut to where I was like, damn, what the hell? I'll just say this. In order to get out of check to check, you just gotta start small. Like I'll give solutions. I'll give you one solution. And it's kind of look at it like the base level, higher level, medium level, higher level. Like, all right, first of all, let's talk about savings. So, first level of savings, look at it, let's just call it the kid level. Get you a big ass Hinckley and Schmidt jar. Of course, you gotta have a place where ain't nobody gonna steal, ain't gonna take your money, but get you a Hinckley Schmidt jar, basically the big old water jugs. And you come in from work, you come in from outside, you throw your change in there. Over years and years and years, you're gonna have like $200 or $300 in there. Like my Hinckley and Schmidt jar over the years, it was times, and it, as you should, if you need to, you go in it, right? You get you $60 or $80, whatever. It's got like at least $200 or $300 in there. At least like $200 or something like that. All right. I don't touch it. I just put my change in there and I move along. I don't even touch it. There's been times that I will say the times that I probably touched my change, it was like I was unemployed. I was like busted, right? Okay, that's level 1. Level 2, get you a money savings book. This is what I mean by a money savings book. All right, let me show you what a money savings book is. And you do this, you ain't gonna have to worry about touching your change. You won't have to worry about, okay, damn, I need to go into my change jar. I need, I got gas. I need gas, or whatever. You're not gonna worry about it. All right, so this is like level 2. This is like next step, right? Get you a money savings book. Of course, you gotta hide it, right? And it's just like this. It starts from like $1 to all the way to 100. And you start saving actual cash. You come in, okay, you start off with $1, you put $1 in there, $2, $3. All right, you get up to $10. You start putting 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, every time you come in from, you go to the grocery store, you make sure you get change so you could put some money in your money savings book. Now you got your change, you got like $200 or $300. You might have more than that. Who knows? Got $200 or $300, and then over years, your change should be filled up. So you should have like, if you got a filled up Hinckley and one of them water jugs, that's like $500 or $600, or if not more, if you got it really filled up. So you got your change, and you have your money book. So what are you doing now? You're trying to get out of check to check. So you got your change. That's like, man, you need your tire went out. You ain't get paid till next Friday. All right, you got to go in your change. Right, go in your money book a little bit. Get you a tire. Right. Okay. The more you save in your money book, okay, because once you get to like 25, you got $300 in your money book. So, okay, let's say you get to 50. Now you got like close to $1,000 cash saved in your money book. So then while you doing that, you got cash on hand, you got change. Okay, now you put in, at least if you can, you should be able to save 10% of your income in your savings account. So every time you get paid, let's say you get paid $1,000 a week, $100 going automatically to your savings account. You just set it up so you just $100. After a while, you're gonna start going into it, but then you're gonna start training yourself not to go into that savings. So you won't touch it. So it's just gonna keep going in there. You got your money book. Now you got your change, you got your money book, you got money automatically going into your savings account. That's your like rainy day fund. Then once you get in a better financial footing, then save another 10% to like an IRA to your retirement. So this is for your retirement. This is like a bag up. It's really your retirement, but it's also a bag up like emergency fund. Or let's just look at it like a long-term emergency fund. Because basically that's what retirement is. Come on. Your retirement account is basically your long-term, lifelong emergency fund. So when you stop working, you don't have to work again. You got enough retirement to not ever have to work again. Or if you want to work, you could work, just to make a little money, just to, whatever, to have a little extra cushion. So like basically those are things you could do. And then also, if you got more surplus over time, you start learning how to trade. So you go open up a brokerage account and you put like 5% in there. So you should be able to put like $50 in there every time you get paid. So then you could learn to trade on your own. Then now you got the change, you got the money in the bunny book, you got automated savings, you got retirement accounts saving every time you get paid. And then you have a little money that you can actually trade, learn how to trade so you can grow. So all these things is building up momentum. So one of the things about the problems of living check to check is you don't really have no momentum. So you're like at zero momentum or no momentum. So when you have these savings areas, all of these levels of savings, you're slowly building up momentum to where you're not paycheck to paycheck. You're not at zero after every time you get paid. Okay. So that's the purpose of all of this. So it's to build up momentum over time. Okay. So it says, okay, even limited true ownership, even when you own a home, a car, bank, a home or a car, banks and tax authorities have a major claim on it. Okay. So like even if you got a mortgage, right? You don't own the house. That mortgage company owns that house. you're paying them to live in that house. Okay, it's really, this financial system is really tough. It's a really tough system. That's why a lot of people, off themselves. A lot of people, they off themselves because they don't know how to deal with this financial system, and it's just too rough. It's just too rough for them to deal with. So they just off themselves because it's really tough. And especially if you don't know what you're doing, you haven't been educated, you don't really know what to do. It's a tough system because it almost feels like there's no end in sight, and it's no hope. That's another reason why I do these live streams, why I talk about money and everything like that. I can talk about relationships. I can talk about all kinds of stuff, sex. I could talk about, how to do this, how to get women and all this. But this here is more of a problem than how do I get women, how do I start a family and all that. Trying to deal with this is rule number one. Okay. That is rule number one. Overcoming this wealth distribution issue in America. Those are the reason why I continue to do these videos. Those two reasons I just said. That's why. I don't want people out there, I don't even want people to that follow me, that subscribe to me, to lose hope, to give up, to lose track, to get disillusioned, and to not have solutions. Even if I gave you those solutions before, you just keep hammering those things home because this is still a major issue. They want you to worry about all this other bullshit. They want you to worry about these people, this country, this and it. It's not working. Okay. The elite, the oligarchs, and the plutocrats are very, very desperate. They're in a very, very desperate situation because they are trying to hold on to their wealth as it inevitably, in my opinion, I'm not a financial expert as far as an economic expert, but in my opinion, this distribution will be going down. Now, how it might be going down, that's another video for another day. But in my opinion, this wealth distribution will be going down in a sense of the top wealthiest will have to get a haircut because basically it's just the pressures of the United States and other countries is bearing down, and this wealth will be getting a haircut, in my opinion. Okay. In my opinion, this wealth, the top 10% will be getting a haircut. And them trying to embrace that and deal with that is another story, right? But they're trying to sidetrack you by having you disillusioned with wars and possible wars and ongoing conflicts and political strife, political instability, immigration. All these are sidetracks. The problem is this. This is the number one problem in America. This has been a number one problem in America for decades. They want you to not worry about this. If you concern yourself like I do with this every single day, they don't want the average American to be focused on that. Because if you're focused on this and not racism and wars and rumors of wars and other countries and all of that, you'll focus on the problems. And the problems are obviously government related and wealth related. And everything everything there is associated with wealth. Those are the issues. You won't be sidetracked. And what's going on is Americans are waking up. They're tired of the bullshit. They're tired of this political party playing this game and this back and forth. And I'm the one that comes on here that talks about the major problem in America. It's not women. It's not, you know, other, the left or the right. It's wealth, ladies and gentlemen. That's one of the biggest problems in America. If you don't believe me, okay, you can hop out the clouds. You can hop out and say something in the comment section to whatever you think is more important. Because since I've had this channel and before I've had this channel, this has been a major problem for me and others. Okay. And all the other problems are, in my opinion, secondary problems. It's like Chris Rock said, it's not like the hood had everybody before crack cocaine had a yacht in a jacuzzi in the backyard. I mean, it's a major problem. Black people obviously have had problems. Other people have had problems with this issue for a long time. So in my opinion, as well as others, we're in a state of neo feudalism, neo serfdom, where people are new age serfs, but they don't know that they are. And then a lot of times when people wake up to find out and understand that they're the new serfs or neo serfs, couple things happen. One, they get very, very disillusioned and depressed, and it goes into again, like I said before, suicide. They have suicidal thoughts and think doom and gloom, because it is designed, the system is designed for you to go through that and deal with that. As someone that has dealt with this and have dealt with this system for decades, yes, I can understand, and I've dealt with all of that, the doom and gloom, the just feeling of emptiness, the feeling of I might never get out of this situation, helplessness and everything like that. But I'm gonna tell you, you can overcome all of this. It's a using just the 3M system can overcome this. Mindset, money management, momentum. You can literally take a dent in this society, in this capitalistic society, by using those 3M systems and using them well, as well as other concepts that I'm talking about on this live stream tonight. You can overcome this. It is very much, a lot of it is mental. A lot of this is psychological. You're programmed to watch certain things on social media, to entertain you, to take you off of the reality of just how financially unequitable this society is. It literally has people almost psyoped to believe certain things, to be pigeonholed into living paycheck to paycheck, watching Basketball Wives and Dancing with the Stars, and living paycheck to paycheck, basically programming you to basically be a debt slave, a new age serf. Okay. So these videos are to wake you up, okay, to get you some type of bearing, okay. You can't overcome this. We can overcome this shit. You know, each one teach one, as my sensei used to say when I used to practice jujitsu. So, diagnosing the neo-serfdom, the problem, the illusion of freedom. You have the freedom to choose your master, your employer, but not the freedom to not have one. So I look at things in neo-serfdom on a couple levels. First off, there's like 4 levels to this. First level is neo-serfs, neo-slaves. Serf is a slave. And it goes back to medieval Europe. Basically, those that they either know that they're serfs or they don't know that they're serfs. Most people either they don't believe that they're serfs, especially if they're young. Then when they find out, they start watching a bunch of documentaries. Then they get depressed. You know, it's time to go to a mental hospital. Yeah, I'm not bullshitting. I'm not making this shit up. Like, yeah, it's time to go to a mental hospital because you literally been red pilled, financially speaking, to understand that you are a fucking serf and you're beholden to masters. And you're in part of a system that's thousands and thousands of years old that you believe, that you were taught to believe to be a fantasy that is a dark reality that is not based off of fantasy or the dream world. After the neo-serfs, you have basically the manager class, or let's just say the managers. In a manager class, what they are is they're beholden to the masters. These are the people that hire you and fire you. These are the people that you're trying to send email to after you had an interview and you're hoping to get the job that you just interviewed. You send them a nice email thanking them about the interview and how you had a good time, which you really didn't. You just want a job. You're just desperate for a job, and you got to go through managers to get jobs. Okay, they can hire you and fire you. They usually are the ones that probably make 6 figures or more. They are beholden to corporate executives, basically the masters. Even the masters are beholden to what? If they're publicly owned, their shareholders, boards, chairmen of the boards. The board, they're beholden to that. They can get voted out of that seat of being a CEO or COO or whatever. Okay. So you got serfs, managers, and masters. Okay. Those are above the managers. Then outside of that is, I guess you want to call them freedom fighters, I guess. Only things left is freedom fighters. And those are people that have found a way. They woke up and they found a way to escape and become and have some type of freedom. They figured it out. They like, oh, this is a game. I'm going to beat this motherfucking game. I'm going to find a way to beat this game. And they did. And they were serious. You know the most amazing freedom fighters that I sit and almost think about for long periods of time that amazes me is the young freedom fighters. Right out the gate, they're like 20 years old, 19, they're already millionaires. They're already financially successful because they don't have a bunch of people blowing smoke up their ass. They already have some financial success or micro financial success. So the older people can't tell them some bullshit because they're not going to believe them because they already have proof of concept and they're already on their way and they've already found a way to make it and they're already there. So now only thing is up is to the top, is up from there. And it's like those are the people that not only they get to really enjoy that freedom because they're young and they're already there. You know, a lot of people, family members tell them stuff and other people tell them stuff and they actually believed it or they took it to heart and then they, didn't follow their goals and all of this other crap, right? But yeah, you take it serious. I mean, I'm talking about serious as a heart attack, okay? And you go out and you try to like basically overcome, this system, where it basically keeps you a slave, okay? This is way more serious. You know what I'm saying? This is why I talk about this, from time to time. I talk about this, right? So let's talk more about this. Let's talk about the 7 levels of financial freedom, or let's just talk about, I don't really like this site. Let's talk about, let's see if this is it here. Let's see here. Yeah, this is cool. I like this one more better. Okay. So this is the 7 levels of financial freedom right here, or the FIRE movement. Okay. Which is basically financial independence, retire early. Okay. Get out of slavery. Okay. So level 1 is clarity. It's important to know where you start. Take stock of your financial situation, how much money you have, and what your goals are. The 50% of overcoming a goal. Do you know what 50% of overcoming a goal is? Writing it down. 50% of 100% of achieving a goal starts with you writing it down. That's you got half of it done by actually writing it down. The other half is actually coming up with a solution to completing that goal and actually doing it and becoming action oriented to actually do that, to achieve that goal, whatever it is. Level 2, self-sufficiency. See, I'm so motivated by this. Like, I got fire in me at 12 o'clock at night. It's almost 1 a.m. because this is serious to me. Very, very serious to me. And my clock is a little backwards, but yeah, it's still serious nonetheless, regardless of the fact. Serious as a heart attack. Okay, level 2, self-sufficiency. Stand on your own 2 feet financially. Earn enough money to cover your expenses without any help from family or friends. At this level, you may be living paycheck to paycheck, or taking on loans to make ends meet. Level 2. Okay. Level 3, breathing room. At level 3, you have money left over after living expenses to put toward goals such as building an emergency fund and investing for retirement. So it's levels to this. Like, I'm not gonna lie, these things I didn't have these things in my book, but okay, these things are important. If you do look at it like this, maybe this will be help. This is why I'm talking about this. This will be helpful for you, right? It's levels to this, right? You're not, if you live in check to check, it's gonna take you some time to get out of that. It might take you 6 months to a year to get out of being check to check, because it's not just check to check, and it's not just about the money. A lot of this shit is about how you live your life, the things you do, the things you don't do, the people that are around you. A lot of things have to actually, like, you have to actually overcome things to actually get to a certain pace. It might even be people dragging you along. It might even be like your wife, your baby mama that you live with trying to drag you down. Like, she might not know why she's doing that or whatever, or she might have learned from her mother or whatever, but she's dragging you down. Or you with a guy, your husband, he's dragging you down. He doesn't know anything about finances. He's a Joe Rockhead, and he doesn't know anything, and he's dragging you down. And the thing is that, I think that maybe, people can get counseling. I mean, there is some type of hope, but whatever the reason is, a lot of this doesn't necessarily really have anything to do with financial. A lot of it, like I said before, is psychological and behavioral. Like, it's who you're surrounded by, who you're listening to, who you're involved with, who is influencing you, who is in your day-to-day life on a day-to-day basis. These all play a role into why you make the decisions that you make. How is your house organized? How is it disorganized? All these things play a role, right? So it's a process to get to that level, right, of financial freedom. And it's, level 3 is actually getting some type of breathing room. Maybe you got to go get you a studio apartment. You realize living in your grandma's basement wasn't the way, it wasn't the light. So you figured out, okay, I need to get out of this situation. I need to go get me a studio apartment, get you a mattress, air mattress on the floor, and, with your TV and your PlayStation 5, with no entertainment, center, furniture or anything like that. Just a floor, everything on the floor. I mean, every person that ever had to overcome or get it out the mud has had that experience. Mattress on the floor, what I'm saying, going balls to the wall, trying to, basically get off the floor. But you got breathing room, right? You have your own personal peace, that you got, and you have something that you can build from. Okay, level 4, stability. You've paid down high interest rate. Wait, hold on. You've paid down high interest rate debt such as credit cards and stashed away 6 months worth of living expenses in an emergency fund. Building up these savings ensures you're safe from unexpected circumstances like a loss of a job. So at this point, at level 4, you're paying off your debts. You got you some type of debt payment plan, debt snowball. You trying to get out of debt, okay? And at the same time, you're trying to build up your emergency fund, okay? You're building these things up. You're building up momentum. Okay, this is level 4, stability. Trying to get out of debt, trying to build up your emergency fund, and get at least 6 months worth of living expenses. Okay. Level 5, flexibility. At level 5, you have 2 years worth of living expenses saved and the ability to think about money in the terms of the time it could buy you. For example, taking a year off from a job if you wanted to. So on this level, okay, I got a comment here. Oh, he said when we get in the cancel family. Man, hey, I'm almost there, bro. I'm almost there. I'm definitely closer. I'm not. It's not further away. It's closer, but it's slow as fuck. It's very very slow. Okay. What's going on, Irie? So, yeah. Level 5 is like, for example, you make 50 grand. You already have 50 grand in savings because that's your yearly salary. You already have that saved, right? Like just look at it like this, right? This is how I look at it. First level, one paycheck worth of savings. So if you get paid $1,000 a week, you got $1,000. Okay, you that alone, you're not check to check, right? You got $1,000 in your savings, or you got $1,000 between your change, your money book, and your savings account. $1,000. Okay, next, your monthly income is about 4 grand. You got 4 grand across these different accounts or different places. Next is 3 to 6 months. So 3 to 6 months, 3 months is about $1,200, $12,000. Okay, 6 months, 6 months is about $25,000. A year is 50 grand. So you on that level where it's flexibility, level 5, you have that accomplishment. You have a year of income saved. This is very enlightening. I was going to read off something else, but this is more. I like this. I really do. I really do like this. This is from. I'll put this in the chat. It's a very good information. Very good information here. Okay. Very good information. So that's level 5. Okay. Now level 6 is financial independence. Once you achieve this level, you can live solely off of investments. You generally have one of 3 things: either a large sum of money in an investment portfolio generating interest, rental properties where the cash flow covers living expenses, or both. Okay, the most well-to-do person I know is on this level. Okay, they have both. They have rental properties and they have money in their investment. I don't know how their investments are doing. I don't know, but at this level, basically, you probably got it's safe to say you got 3 to 6 years of your income that you have in an investment portfolio or in real estate holdings, rental properties, or a combination of both. So money, as far as money wise, you got about $250,000 in basically investments. on this level of level 6. Okay. In level 7 is abundant wealth. Congratulations, at this level, you're financially independent and can live off your portfolio income. You can rely on the 4% rule, a retirement rule of thumb, where investors can safely withdraw 4% adjusted for inflation from a balanced portfolio of stocks and bonds each year. All right, so that's how they look at it, and this is very good. I mean, this is very much clarity for me, because I'm always trying to gauge where I'm at, and I have a pretty good idea from reading this where I'm even at. Okay, so I got a few more things to accomplish in order to be confident enough to actually financially to join the fire movement. Let's just say at a few more levels to go. Okay, but nonetheless, that is how I look at this serfdom that we have, this neo serfdom. Okay, so looking at this neo serfdom problem, we talked about the illusion of freedom. Now, the modern plantation, comparing the company store keeping workers in perpetual debt to modern corporate structures that underpay while offering high interest loans to their own employees. Okay. Now, I don't necessarily know what they're talking about. Maybe they're looking at it like you work for a plant or some union or whatever. In a lot of unions, they have credit unions. Well, if you get a mortgage loan from your credit union, that's pretty much what they're talking about here. You literally, okay, let's just say you work for a steel company, or a steel manufacturing company, and you're part of the union, you're part of the steel workers union, and you have a credit union and you have a mortgage from your credit union. That's literally you're a part of a plantation. You're a serf in a plantation. It just is what it is. Like it or love it or don't, it is what it is. You can't tell me that's not the case. The unfortunate truth is people were just not taught the reality of life. And it started when we were kids, and parents told us that there were Santa Claus, and there's an Easter bunny, there's a tooth fairy, there's Santa Claus and elves, and if you be good, you get presents. Well, that was the first fantasy that was taught by people from their parents. And you grow older, your parents try to shield you from reality. And they're doing this, they mean well by doing this, because they want you to be shielded from depression. They know what's going on. They're dealing with it. They're making it look easy, or maybe they're not making it look easy, depending on how they're coping with life. But most parents want to shield you from the reality. They might not be good at it. It depends on certain people and their, how they are and how they parent their children. Well, most parents, including myself, I pay money to shield my children from certain realities, so they can enjoy their youth, enjoy their life without have to be over concerned, or worry, or even just struggle, right? That's what parents do, and they don't necessarily, they don't stop doing it. They really don't. They might talk to you, once you go check yourself in a mental hospital because you was watching a live stream from some financial guy on YouTube that's kind of wacky. He does live streams. He does financial live streams at 12 o'clock at night on a Wednesday. And he talks about finances from a realistic perspective, that is just hard hitting and depressing, to say the least. And you just couldn't take it. You had to go check yourself into a mental hospital, unfortunately. Well, your parents, they'll come and visit you and they'll help you cope. They'll give you your favorite snack, and then try to tell you it's gonna be all right. You could come live with me, and you'll find a job again. You'll overcome, right? That's what your parents are there for, right? But unfortunately, I'm not your parent. I'm just giving it to you really raw and straight laced. This is what it is. This is a theory of mine. You might not think it as such, but if you already think it a little bit, unfortunately, it's probably most likely reality. I say accept the reality and just overcome it. If you can overcome it, that's all that matters. Because if you don't overcome it, then that is something more dire to deal with. So other than that, the modern plantation, you have the tax farm. This is how the system is designed to extract wealth from the laboring class before they even see their paycheck. So what's going on now is you have, we pay taxes, right? You get paid already, FICO and all of the Medicare tax, Social Security tax. It's already taken out of your paycheck. And this goes to the government. They, go and send money to overseas, to Israel, to Ukraine, to other countries, to boost up the military, to pay for senators, congressmen, FBI, all of these alphabet groups. This is all tax funds that pays for this, right? Federal prisons, federal prosecutors, federal judges. All of this is off of the federal tax roll, off of people's paychecks and their profit gains, whatever their tax. This goes into that cumulative tax fund. Okay. And from that, basically, your labor is taxed, and unfortunately, there have been administrations that have basically used that tax fund to help other wealthy people, right? So I said, basically, you have the masters, the managers, and the neo serfs, and then the freedom fighters, right? Well, the masters, they take your tax money and then they give it to other masters, right? So they go start a war. They give government contracts to Blackwater and Blackstone Group and all of these different companies. All of these different contract companies, and these companies get rich off of taxpayer funds. Okay. The treasury is basically raided, and all of these monies go to government contracts, right? Go to other countries for foreign aid, for all kinds of backroom deals that you don't know about. Okay, um, top secret, right? So that's how this works, right? One of the major persons that administrations that did that was the Reagan administration and the Bush administration. They raped the Treasury, okay, to the point where they gave a lot of their master friends, cronies, tax funding, so they can get rich off of the proletariat, large proletariat tax base. Okay, um, so they do fleece, corporate taxes or actual taxes from people and redirect them to other rich and wealthy companies and entities. So this does happen. This is one of the reasons why there is a quote unquote United States in theory, right? The United States formed because the settlers were sick of the English taxing them. Okay, they had to pay a huge amount of taxes to the royal family in England, right? They had heavy tax burdens, and they decided to have a revolution, okay, because of the taxes. Well, now there's a lot of problems continue, or they come about, or they return. Okay, they come around again, and they show themselves to be the same situation or very similar. And you could say the taxes, the U.S. tax system is showing to be very similar, to what was going on. Other than, okay, there's no, you know, the English are not to blame at this time. Now, um, the oligarchs and the plutocrats are to blame. Okay, they are the ones that are doing this, right? Now, the interesting thing is the same thing is going on with France right now. France had a French Revolution in the 1700s and 1800s. They had a French Revolution. They were murdering everyone. That it was like off with their heads. It was like someone could just, falsely claim that you did something or said something, and then they were trying to swing your head off of the gallows. It was very violent and bloody, and it was a revolution. They took over rulership from the monarchs, and basically came up with some type of different system that is not a monarchy. France had a monarchy. A lot of European countries had monarchies. They dissolved those monarchies and chose other forms of government. Well, France is on the verge of another French Revolution. What they did after killing off the monarchs and seizing power, they basically mimicked what the monarchs were doing and how the monarchs was getting rich off of the people. They just did what the similar behavior, just it's different. They're not monarchs. And it's the same perpetual behavior that just basically continued. So now you have a new possible French Revolution. France is on the verge of burning. Okay, Um, After the tax farm, the psychological cage, how stress, financial anxiety, and the grind keep people compliant, too tired to seek real alternatives. So, people. I watch a lot of economists. One of my favorite economists that I'm listening to a lot now is a guy by the name of Michael Peretti. He's an old guy. He is an older economist. I'm not even sure if he's still alive. But I really like listening to Mike Peretti. Talk about economics. He's still alive. He's older now. He's 92. I don't think he's probably doing any more lecturing. He was a professor. He resides in New York. He's still alive, but he's aged out by now. But I watch all of this boring stuff. Listen to economists, PhD, scholars, and the reason I do that um, is I just want to learn more. Okay, but one of the things that this reminds me of with the psychological cage, I told you, like, this, a lot of this stuff is psychological. So when you work a job, you're tired most of the time. When you get off work, most of the time you probably tired. A lot of us, when they get off work, we're tired. So when you're tired, again, I did the live stream before. I said it's a guy by the name of John D. Rockefeller that said most people can't make any money because they're working. And while you're working, you can't make any money. Reason being is you're not, the money that you're making being a serf, even being a manager, it's not really enough in order to be wealthy, in order to really make money. Okay. You in order to make money, it requires you to actually get out of the paradigm of being a slave, to actually, you know, starting some type of uh, corporate structure or some type of corporate equity. Okay, like Amazon or whatever, you name it. It's hard to make money while you working. Okay, and the thing is that that's what happens when you work jobs. You're working, and then you might want to do something or work. You do the work, and then you come home and do your extra work or your passion projects or your passion job or your passionate business that you got going on. But a lot of times you come home and you're too tired to even work on those things. So you give yourself some type of break, and you don't worry about it. You deal with it another day, maybe the weekend, because you're too tired from actually working a job, trying to keep your job requirements compliant so you can continue to work. Constantly grinding. You working and you're doing gig apps like DoorDash or Uber Eats or Uber, and you're just grinding. You're stressed. You have a lot of anxiety, you're tired, and you're compliant because you're stuck in this psychological cage of stress, anxiety, and grind, and you're constantly tired. And you being tired is a form of almost like a tranquilizer for you to be compliant, to be a compliant serf. So you don't have enough energy to actually break away and achieve freedom. Okay. So moving along, we're going to come up to with some mindset strategies, the pillars of escape. That's what it's called. Okay. Pillar number one. I'll put this in this live stream here. Financial intelligence over financial labor. Stop just working for money. Make money work for you. That was what he was talking about. That's what John D. Rockefeller was talking about. Most people are so busy working, they don't have time to make money. So this fundamental mindset shift from serf to owner is key. So how do you do that? What is he talking about? Or what is this talking about? Stop working for money, make money work for you. How do you do that? How does one do that? Yeah, you could sports bet. I mean, but that's, I don't recommend that. But you could take small amounts of money. You could buy crypto. You can get into crypto. That's what the young people are doing. They're buying crypto. They're buying different altcoins and crypto, right? Altcoins is everything except Bitcoin, right? And they're making money, or they're trying to learn how to make money. People still doing forex. I'm trying to get back into it. I trade stocks, and I'm trying to grow my account right now. I'm trying to cross over $1,000. And I'm pretty serious about it. And you could buy ATM machines, vending machines. You could buy cars and fix them up and sell them for more than what you pay for them. I mean, you could do that with houses. Houses are more expensive, more costly to do that, but basically make your money work for you. Okay. Working instead of working for money. That's the key. Taking $1 and flipping it into $10, $10 to $100. Basically, learn the thing is I can tell you very simply, learn how to be an investor. Train your brain to learn how to be an investor. I can't train you to be an investor. I have an investment mind. It's part of my mindset. Everyone does not have that. I understand that. I know that. But that's not good enough. You need to learn how to make money work for you. And the best way to do it is to learn how to invest. It's no other rhyme or reason to it. Learn how to invest. Even having a business is an investment. Okay, you might not know how to trade. Might not know how to do technical analysis or fundamental analysis or follow news stories or whatever. You might just be good at starting a roofing company. You're good at roofing. Okay, start you a local roofing business. Get you some insurance. Get everything you can for that business and start that business. Become the best roofer known to man. Then go to once you do well in the region you're in, go to another location, in another location. Now you got 3 roofing businesses. You making millions of dollars a year off of a roofing business. After a while, you're not even working. You don't even have to help out with the crews. You got your own crews. You got enough money to pay those people, and those people are making money for you. That's a way you could do it. Business is still investing. It's a form of investing. Actually, a lot of times people just, like I say, trading stocks. People just buy into a business. They when you buy stocks, you're buying into a company's business, hoping that company does well for the period of time that you buy shares, that you bought shares of that particular company. Or if you trading options, puts and calls, if you buy a put, basically you hoping that the company actually goes down. If you buy a call, you hoping that it'll go up in value. Okay. Pillar 2, asset acquisition over liability collection. What do I talk about all the time? When I talk about finances, what do I talk about? Stop buying all of that liability crap. Clothes, cars, jewelry. If it ain't making you no money, it ain't really worth it. It ain't really worth it. I'm gonna be honest with you. If it ain't making you no money, it's not really worth it. Like, all your money should be used to make more money, if possible. Like, if you use it 100% of your brain, you got your money making you more money. So redefining what an asset is puts money in your pocket versus a liability takes money out of your pocket. This goes beyond cars, houses to include skills, intellectual property, and digital products. Okay. Focus on assets. Sell off liabilities. Close out all liabilities as much as possible. This is one of the major things that I learned, that's the difference between the rich and the poor. Poor people concern themselves over liabilities. Cars? They got car payments. They got car loan payments. The average car loan payment is like $700. And that doesn't even include insurance and other fees. All because they want a nice new car that they can pretend that they're doing okay around their high school classmates and different peers, in their group. They get these cars and pay these car payments. And risk possibly losing their car with a repossession. Or anything. The house, apartment, whatever. Liabilities. Pillar 3, sovereignty over serfdom. Building systems that make you less dependent on a single employer or entity. This includes multiple income streams, remote work skills, legal structures, LLCs to protect what you build. I'm not gonna lie. This is something that I have done but it is something that is very difficult. I will say it's very, very difficult. Having a sovereign business, or basically being a sovereign person that is independent of uh, basically having to work a job, being an employee. It's very difficult to be on your own, but it's possible. It's very, very possible. Okay. Learning how to build systems is something that I'm still working on myself. And it is something that is very, very important, because once you come up with a business system, you can use that business system infinitum. All you have to do is just basically edit anything that you need as it goes, as you know, society continues on. Like, for example, McDonald's business systems was way before I was born. What did they do? They just updated their business systems. They updated their pricing. They updated what they sold at McDonald's, because things that are at McDonald's now was not at McDonald's, when I was a little boy. Like, they don't what was in McDonald's when I was a little boy that's no longer there now. Strawberry milkshakes. Like, I mean, shoot. They used to have a lot of those like indoor little like playhouses. They don't really have a lot of those. The way McDonald's looks is different. I mean, obviously, I don't really eat a lot of McDonald's, but they do have a lot of things that they still have. When I was a little boy, I can't think of anything. I can't necessarily think of anything, but they don't have, it's probably something missing. I'm pretty sure it's a lot of things that are missing that was, they were selling. I mean, obviously the prices were something that's different from McDonald's, 20, 30 years ago or 40 years ago, if not than now. Okay. But the business system is still there. McDonald's still has a thriving business system that they use internationally to make billions of dollars every single year. Okay. Let me look at McDonald's stock prices because it's been a while. So McDonald's is still profitable. Okay. Let's look at this here. It's still profitable. They're still profitable. The year over year is not doing too well. 5 days not doing too well. One day was okay. So yeah, I mean they're having some issues. But if you look at their 5 year is up 31% over 5 years. So that's one thing. And then you got to understand, McDonald's pays a 2.39% dividend. It's right there. They pay a dividend. So if you own their stock, you get a 2.39% dividend. Okay. So it's about $1.77 a share. So they're still doing relatively well. A lot of people still eat McDonald's. A lot of people are not conservative like that. They're not like, I don't even want to say conservative. They're not like let's just say high class. Like typically high class people don't eat McDonald's. I want to say that. I'm pretty sure high class people that's health conscious they probably not eating McDonald's. But you gotta understand, most people are not that. Most people are what? Poor. Most people are struggling, and most people like fast food. So they still have a healthy customer base. It's a lot of people that like McDonald's, right? They still eat McDonald's. They don't care about none of that shit. Same people that probably smoke cigarettes, they still eat McDonald's. Okay, they're still into that. But regardless of all of that, McDonald's has a thriving business system. That business system is worth its weight in gold. When you learn how to build a business system or systems in general, just be system oriented, system thinking, there you go. What makes McDonald's extremely successful is their business system. To make any business successful is a thriving business system. Okay, still working on that. All right, part 3, the practical escape routes. Okay, I'm just gonna read these off in succession, and I'm gonna get up out of here. But you got the point. So, the debt jubilee plan, a strategic, aggressive method to eliminate your personal debts, the chains of serf. That might look like what does that might look like? That might look like filing in chapter 7, chapter 13. That gets rid of all of your debts. If you qualify, that gets rid of all of your debts. There's consequences to it, but it's an immediate action. Okay, it is dealt with fast. Even if you're able to do so, a debt snowball plan, it's an immediate action. It deals with it right away. From the first month on, you're paying off that debt. Okay, that's why they listed debt first, because most people are serfs because they have debt. Now, this is too much. I'll just read this off here. Skill stacking for leverage. Instead of just get better at one job, acquire a unique combination of high value skills, coding, marketing, sales, that make you irreplaceable and allow you to command higher pay or build your own business. So, I mean, those are some things that I'm working on as well. I'm definitely trying to, leverage higher skills, some things to, try to get up the ladder of success one way or the other. And I mean, basically, I'm just doing what works. Basically, all I know what works is what works. And that's what I do. I don't try to do anything else. I don't even waste my time on other stuff. I just do what works. Third, digital homestead. Using the internet as your land to build a business audience, product line that you fully own and control, like you're doing with your channel. Okay. If you got a YouTube channel, for all you YouTubers that follow me. Okay. Digital homesteading. Legal and tax structures. Basic introduction of how using entities like LLCs or S corps can protect your assets and reduce your tax burden. How the ruling class plays the game. Okay, so I mean that's that's one way. That's one way of doing things, right? And the thing is that whether you like it or not, whether you agree with this or not, we are in my opinion, an age of neo serfdom, and a lot of people just, they don't understand what's going on, and they're suffering, the consequences of that. And this video is to kind of wake you up to the idea of this, so you can have some type of financial freedom possible, of you actually getting out of this, getting out of this serfdom, and getting some type of freedom, finding some type of freedom for yourself and others. Okay, so that's what this is about. I know this is probably depressing. It's probably something that you don't really want to hear, because you want to, it's a depressing sound of being a slave. I mean, it, it's a hurtful thought, probably even to really think about. It's like, wow, we had a civil war, and people are supposed to be free, but unfortunately, things are as such as it just kind of got out of hand. Things got out of hand. It doesn't take too long for things to get out of hand. A few administrations, presidential administrations, is all it takes. You just think of, if you could go back, like 60 years, 50 years, and each administration, what they've done for the plutocrats and oligarchs at that time, they chipped away something more and more. Each administration, they chipped away more and more and more, progressively, to the point where, motherfuckers just going around in circles, barely know which way is up, because the wealthy have so much and the poor have so little, that people are literally just like, just almost to the point where they're stuck, and they don't really know what to do, but just pretend that everything is all right. And unfortunately, this is by design. And the different strategies and things that I talked about today is that of inspiration for you to try to get out of this neo serfdom. Again, 3M system, mindset, money management, momentum. Let's get it done.